Arguably the most anticipated show of 2023 just released, that being Season 2 of The Bear on Hulu, about a restaurant in Chicago and the lives of the interesting characters that try to keep it running. This video will have spoilers for Season 2 of The Bear. I thought about trying to keep it kinda spoiler free, but then I thought, who the hell watched Season 1 and thought, I don't know if I should watch Season 2, maybe I'll watch a video on it first. No one, that too. So if you intend to watch it and haven't, please do so and come back to this video after. You've been warned. The Bear was my favorite show I watched last year, which I would consider a bit rare for myself when probably only 10 to 20% of what I watch is live action. A big reason why I want to make this video is because I'd really like to share a few things I found interesting that I haven't seen people discuss much. The primary thing I want to share is how I love the premise and how they instantly raised the stakes and drew me in. But there's a couple other interesting discussion points like why the hell do people hate Claire so much, and I do my best to understand both sides of the argument, so stick around, we have a bit to talk about. First, talking about the premise and stakes of the season, I need to give praise to the overarching plot of Season 2 and the debt that they have, as I think it's really special how good this season was, especially as a follow-up season for a show. Season 1 of The Bear was written in a way that seems to be increasingly common, in which the premise is fully expressed and contained within its one season, yet it leaves the door open in anticipation of the audience enjoying the show and wanting more. I watched Season 1 of The Bear and thought to myself, that's a great meal. I'm satisfied. It was so great I don't need anything else. And then you see Season 2 coming soon, and it's like a dessert, like you've never eaten before. This analogy sucks, I'm sorry. Anyways, I was excited for Season 2 because I loved the show, but I also thought to myself, what are they gonna do? Just open the new restaurant? The stakes are kinda gone, I mean, I'm sure they'll find something, but I'm going into the season without much speculation of what could happen or what I'm looking forward to, so I'd argue the stakes of this season increased right away. The premise of Season 2 is that the creation of the Bear restaurant is underway, but a sense of urgency arises when their debt rapidly increases due to tons of equipment needing to be fixed and replaced. The restaurant needs to get up to code when they've never really had proper certifications and safety, so Carmi's solution to all of this is to create an ultimatum with Uncle Jimmy. They say, hey, we need to borrow money, we'll have the $300K you're owed still, but we need $500,000 more dollars, and if we don't pay you back the $800K we owe you in 18 months, we'll relinquish the restaurant to you, you can sell the law or whatever you want. It's all yours. Now, I've read a couple articles that challenge the legality of such an ultimatum, whether it be discussing if Carmi's word here is legally binding, or if Uncle Jimmy would need to file this loan within the county in order for this deal to legally exist, but none of this matters. What matters is that feeling this premise gives you right away. That feeling of, oh shoot, I don't know if they can actually do this or not. 800K in 18 months? This sounds crazy. And that beautiful feeling is what I love when watching shows, and why I want to praise this premise and share it with you. It seems people find this especially remarkable for a follow-up season, not deviating too far from what people fell in love with in the first season, while also providing new conflicts and further backstories for the characters we know and love. Season 1 doesn't have the most concrete goal right away. We're still learning who the characters are, the mystery of the restaurant, and who Carmi is. And Season 2 gives us time to really appreciate these characters and let them breathe. We have an episode just watching Marcus in Denmark, living on a boat, which seems to be the same place Carmi stayed while living in Copenhagen. We see the joy Tina has when Sydney puts faith in her as her replacement, or Richie taking a step into Carmi's old shoes, working in his old restaurant for a week. Season 2 creates an immediate and clear goal. Get 800K in 18 months. And then the show breaks this down into smaller goals, like the restaurant needs to open in X amount of weeks. This week we need to pass this exam or we're screwed. Next week we need this certificate or we're screwed. The amount of time until the restaurant needs to open is constantly looming over the season. Episodes begin with a countdown in the bottom corner saying 8 weeks to open, 4 weeks to open. Even the Christmas flashback episode, we only know that this took place about 5 years ago because the episode starts with text in the bottom corner that says 256 weeks until open. This is hilarious and stressful and super clever because it tells us how far in the past we are, but as a viewer, I'm still thinking, even in a flashback from 5 years ago, I'm worried about the opening of the restaurant. And despite these tasks, goals, and the stress just everywhere while this is happening, we're given almost mini vacations during the season. Like, that's really what some of these episodes felt like to me. Living in Copenhagen vicariously through Marcus made me say, oh, thank God, I needed a break. Things are so crazy at work. But, I don't work at the Bear. You know, they should be paying me if I'm gonna be stressed over this damn job. I guess in a way, no matter what's happening this season, nothing feels aimless or like a waste of time to me because the opening of the restaurant, and by extension, the debt to Uncle Jimmy, is a difficult goal that lies ahead and is looming over the season. I'm genuinely interested and want to see if this goal can get accomplished or not, and everything that happens feels like a productive step towards this ticking time bomb of 18 months. And it makes me care way more for everyone involved, even if they're just washing forks at another restaurant this week. Speaking of caring more about those involved, Richie clearly makes the biggest step of development and progress of any character this season. It seemed his time out of the restaurant really did him some good. He came back to the Bear with a new sense of appreciation and purpose. He's less argumentative, acknowledging he tried to fit himself into places and even apologized. We see his ability to connect with the clients, reading their faces, bodies, and minds. Yet he can also go back into the kitchen and kick some ass, which was really cool to see.
Dang, that looked good.
We see more of Sydney's home life, discussing her passion for her job and future with her father, who acts as a voice of reason and a reminder of what if it all goes wrong. Yet he supports his daughter and they have a really sweet bond. We learn Sydney's mother died when she was 4, but we get to hear a pretty funny story of Sydney's parents on a date when they were younger, in which they got a flat tire her father didn't know how to fix. And while he tried to lie and say the issue was something else, Sydney's mother knew the issue right away because her father was a mechanic. It might be one of the only things we know about her, but a story like that does a really nice job painting a small picture of who Sydney's parents are, and I think it's just a great example of how the Bear conveys characters so well, how these small stories like this act as a great device to tell an audience what a character is like in a fun, memorable way. Speaking of conveying character, we should discuss the most divisive character, Claire, Carmy's love interest and girl who is a friend slash girlfriend slash ex-girlfriend maybe by the end. It seems like half the discussion of the season is whether she's a good character or not. Many people hate her, others love her, and there's a lot of people in between who are criticized for tolerating someone so awful. So while I'd appreciate y'all keeping the discussion civil and respectful here, I really love and look forward to seeing what y'all have to say. Claire has been described as a really underdeveloped character, or flawlessly bland as I've seen others say, but it's hard for me to determine how underdeveloped Claire is, or rather, if this lack of development is a deliberate decision playing into her role this season. One thing I'd like to mention first is that I really like how Claire is introduced. We don't know exactly who she is when we first meet her at the store, but she seems like a smart person who's funny and has chemistry with Carmy. We gather that they're old acquaintances and that they both have a bit of a tongue-in-cheek sarcasm, but it's not really until later when we see the Christmas flashback episode, it's revealed Richie in fact were trying to get her and Carmy together back then, and Carmy, kind of freaking out at them, shows us just how infatuated he is with Claire. I really like this order of events, because it makes me say, oh shoot, Carmy meeting that gal back then in the present is actually a really big deal. It's kind of like if you walked past a celebrity on the street and didn't really process that until a minute later. And I think that feeling and reveal work way better this way, as opposed to if we had seen the Christmas episode first and hear everyone hyping up Claire, and then later we'd meet her in the present and I'd be like, okay, yeah, we know she's a big deal already, I'm not really surprised. Another thing this specific sequencing of events does for me is it makes me really question who Carmy is, which I think I've been kind of taking for granted up to this point. I guess I didn't think about how weird the other family members thought Carmy was, or how much they messed with him, but I'm still wondering who the present Carmy is, because he kind of freaked out when they mentioned Claire to him 5 years ago, which begs the question, why does he not seem too excited seeing her again in the present? It's like he struggles to remember her name, and it's hard to get a read on if he's excited or nervous or annoyed, or if he just feels nothing.
And stop staring at me with them big old eyes!
I mean, I think Carmy likes Claire, even though he gives her the wrong phone number when she asks for it. I've seen people who think this was deliberate by Carmy, others thinking it was probably an accident considering how scatterbrained and stressed Carmy is. I mean, I still don't know who he needs to call to fix the door on the fridge. He's said 5 different names for that. And I've read a lot of comments of people mad at Claire for tracking down his actual phone number, people complaining that this is creepy or forceful, but I don't really get that vibe, because she really does ask him several times when confronting him afterwards, hey, did you give me the wrong number? It's okay if you did, just tell me and I'll leave. So I kinda disagree worry about it being forceful of her, and a little more, oh, maybe she knows how scatterbrained Carmy is. He also says his full phone number out loud earlier in the episode when working, and when I heard it, I thought to myself, oh, that's odd, should I like remember that? And I can't say I remembered the whole thing, but at least in the moment of hearing it the second time, I said to myself, the first 3 numbers are the same, I think, and I know the last 4 digits were 0 blank, 0 blank, and that sounds like what he gave Claire too. Is Carmy saying his real number early in the episode master foreshadowing? Sure, we can say it is, for the nosy freaks that memorized it the first time he said it. No, I'm just kidding. If you memorized it, good on you. Really. I think those who defend Claire also acknowledge that she represents a very ideal person, but it's these ideal qualities of Claire that help make it very clear Carmy is someone who sabotages himself, who pushes others away, and no matter how perfect she is, Carmy will continue to push her and other loved ones away until he gets help. In a way, Claire's perfection squashes the potential counter-argument that maybe she's just not the right gal for him. If Carmy will push away someone who's so ideal and flawless and makes every effort for him, who won't he push away? He's hopeless until he gets help. I think people who like or at least tolerate Claire see her as a character that's used to reveal more of just who Carmy is and what he desires outside of the restaurant.
That doesn't make it fun.
This shit is not fun for you, cousin. What the fuck is fun for you?
I don't know. I have to get back to you on that.
I think where a lot of people stand on whether you like or dislike Claire probably depends on how much you like the idea of a character acting more as a plot device. I think she'll return in season 3 and probably get more depth and story, but we can't get to know her more until Carmy develops to look for these qualities in her. She probably has flaws that we don't know yet, but I kind of blame Carmy for the fact that we don't know these things yet. I've seen some people theorize our perspective of Claire at the moment is a bit idealized because we're seeing her through Carmy's perspective so far, and that we're almost watching this season through the lens of an unreliable narrator. But I don't necessarily think this is the case, but it's an interesting theory. Some people believe Claire is a walking plot device and represents the perfect woman trope. She'll never burden you with her own shortcomings, flaws, or problems of her own. She'll know everything about you, but it isn't necessary to know anything about her. Plus, she distracts Carmy from the restaurant when they have a harsh deadline and every second counts, and yeah, people lament she's an on-the-nose trope rather than another character in this story. Personally, I feel fine about Claire. I don't hate her, but I agree with a lot of people's complaints. They just don't bother me. Sure, we don't know a lot about her backstory, her flaws, but I guess I'm not looking to know that yet. She acts more as a plot device than a character, yes, but I think they set her plot up very nicely and in a way where season 3 will let us really get to know her. And I have reason now to care about who she is and what her story is and will be. Or I'm just talking out of my ass and got this all wrong. But yeah, that's my general thoughts on season 2 of The Bear. I love the premise, I love that they immediately establish a big goal and stakes, and the season does a great job balancing the pressure and stakes of the restaurant, while also taking moments to breathe and let us experience more of these other characters, what drives them, what their homes and families are like. I think season 3 will probably have Carmy get the help he needs and potentially reconcile his relationship with Claire. I'd love to see her interact more with side characters, like Walker in the Fridge with Sydney. I'd love to see how they interact. And I really do think if Claire returns, we will get to see a lot more of a fleshed out character, rather than a plot device as many see her. But yeah, that's about it. If you watched this video, any likes and comments are greatly appreciated. Feel free to subscribe if you like hearing me ramble about what I like and dislike in shows, and let me know what you're watching or what you'd want to see a video on. Next up, I'm going to be talking all about the art of anime baseball episodes, so yeah, stick around if you want to see that. It's going to be a really fun time. This video made me hungry. I'm gonna go now. Okay, bye.